Hi, I hope you're well. So one of the things I like to do each day if I can is take a walk down here. It's a long straight road. I'll flip the camera around so you can see. A long straight road. It's about 1.3, 1.4 kilometres, and it's just by this dam here. And I just like to walk. Well, not just me. Quite a few people come down here and walk back. For me, I usually just walk it. I'm not really into running. So if you do it 6 or 7 times, you can get your backwards and forwards. So backwards and forwards would be what? 6 times backwards and forwards, then maybe 1/2 back and forth. You get about 10,000 steps out of that, and it's quite a pleasant walk. It's beautiful, actually. There's normally people down here running and walking, but with the weather, it's been pouring with rain today, absolutely pouring. It rains here, it really rains, and so there's no one here, which is fine by me. There's a lot of noisy birds. So yeah, it gives you time to think while you're walking. I've been messing around with this microphone, Rode Wireless Go, and I've got this Samsung S23 Ultra, and it just won't connect. So I tried it on another phone, but it won't connect to that either. So it says, you go online and it says update the firmware to the Wireless Go, but then it says that you can't update the Wireless Go 1, you can only update the Wireless Go 2. So I'm a bit stuck with it, really. So I apologise for the sound. I know that sound's the most important thing with video as well. So I might have to invest in a new microphone. But that one I bought it off eBay a couple of years ago, but it was new in the box. It'd never been opened, it was all sealed. But for some reason I just can't get it working. I'm going to give it another go before I give up. But I tried it with a camera as well, and it wouldn't work with that. So I don't know whether it's just because it's old tech or what, I'm not sure. The new one has 2 microphones, so you can talk with a couple of people. You can interview someone or whatever, podcast or whatever. So down here, this part over here, just to that part there, you get a lot of mist settling there. I was just thinking, it looks like Jurassic Park or something. Could be anything over there. I know when we first came, I said I wanted to go camping over that side, and someone said, no, you don't camp over there. I said, why not? They said, because a bear will eat you. I was like, alright. And apparently it's true. Apparently there's dangerous bears over there, but not on this side. Because this side, if you look over there, so zoom out. That's the canal that comes from the dam that provides the water that feeds all the towns and villages going that way. And so the further you go that way, you've got more and more villages and towns and whatever. It's quite different to home, because you can have these little side roads that just go off the main road, and you think, oh, it looks like it goes nowhere, but actually it can lead to quite a big village. So you've got these little enclaves all over the place with quite a lot of people living in them. So I don't know how many people live in the area. Generally, you can feel like you're in the middle of nowhere, but actually, it's jungle and countryside everywhere, but there's people living all over the place. So Yeah, when we first got here, we had two dogs, a Tibetan Mastiff and a Dogue de Bordeaux, French Mastiff, and there was no way we were leaving them in the UK, so we shipped them over here with us. They travelled the day before, and I'll discuss that at a later date because it's quite a complex operation. But every day when we first arrived, they would run down to the gate because they're quite big dogs, and you don't want them getting out and running around. There's a lot of street dogs everywhere, but you don't want dogs like that running around. So they'd run down to the gate every day, and this little horrible decrepit little dog would come down to see them. It was a daily occurrence. And when we live sort of in the middle of a hill, and when you come out in the morning, you can see this dog silhouetted on the hill, and it barely had any fur. Its skin was black from the sun, and flea ridden. It had like mangy skin. It was in a really bad way, and you pity it. But I think if it was in the UK, I think it probably would just get put down. But it was in a bad way. So this went on, I guess, for a couple of weeks because it was quite early on, and my wife said one day, "What do you think about asking the owner if we can take the dog and take it to the farm and look after it, nurse it back?" So I said, "Yeah, sure," because it's quite upsetting seeing this dog in this state, especially when you've got two healthy dogs at home. And I didn't know the history of the dog, didn't know anything about it. So it turns out this dog's about 10 years old, and the owner was quite poorly at the time, and he'd been poorly for a long time apparently. So he was unable to take care of the dog, and there seemed to be a woman who was at his house, but she wasn't doing anything for the dog. So the dog was just on the street. It would come and go from the house, but I don't know. It was baking in the sun, and it'd just sit there day in day out baking in that sun. So, but it's not my place here. It's not my country. I don't know the rules. I suppose if it was back home, you could just scoop it up and take it to the vet. But anyway, she spoke to the woman, and the woman just said, "Take the dog if you want it. Take it. Don't want it." So far went and my wife, she went and spent a bit of time with the dog, sort of get it used to her one day, and then she went back the next day, took the truck down, and a big blanket. We scooped it up and took it down to the farm. And there's a little makeshift barn at the farm, so we made it a bit of a bed in there, gave it some water and a tiny bit of food, not too much because it obviously hadn't been eating much. And then we took it to the vet the day after, and the vet said it was about 10 years old, and she gave it 2 or 3 injections and about 5 lots of tablets to take away. I can tell you now, it was a damn sight cheaper than the vets in the UK, but in fact it was a negligible amount, but what I imagine would have been hundreds of pounds in the UK. Anyway, this dog, the vet sort of said, well, it probably won't make it, at least you're helping it out, in its last days and what have you. So this went on for a couple of weeks, and the dog on the farm made friends with it, and they started playing together and stuff. And obviously this dog was a bit not confident with you, not comfortable with you, so you just had to be careful. I wouldn't say ever try biting anyone or anything. It wasn't like that kind of a dog. But so I went to Bangkok to get some paperwork sorted out, and while I was away, my wife brought the dog into the house, and so it had met our two dogs, and our dogs can be pretty rowdy, so it was quite afraid of them. And you never know how they're going to react to another dog being brought in, but they took to it. They took to it well. I'll say that our bigger dog, Daisy, she sort of took this little dog, which we called this little dog Doris. Well, I called it Doris because I used to be a hairdresser, and it reminded me of some of the old women that used to come in that were losing their hair and they had the rollers in their hair, old Doris. So, and now that's been abbreviated to Dotty. So now quite a few months on, Dotty is now very much part of the pack with those two, and they have a great relationship, the three of them. And her fur has all grown back, and she's got this amazing kind of beigey golden and white coat. Really quite a fluffy dog, and in actual fact sometimes you look at her, she looks like a pup, and she's very, 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 very appreciative of what we've done for her, and she's now fully integrated. So this dog that we were told probably wouldn't survive, now you look and think, well, she looks completely fine, you know, and she's a good dog. She's turned into a really good dog. Yeah, so that's the story of Doris. And I think if Far hadn't have taken the lead and brought her home, I just don't think I don't know how she was surviving, to be honest, but baking hot, like 38, 40 degrees, just sat there day in, day out. But yeah, she's a good dog, and I will show you Doris one day. And that's that.